It's not a big deal because other artists have done it. Kanye West has done this. I'm not hip hop. Gambino has done this. I'm not hip hop. Number 3, you're not top 5 rap website if you don't understand why people will be extra upset that his song was submitted as hip hop after what he said. But again, we just went over here that the artist is not necessarily submitting their own work to the Grammys. And the artists are not necessarily, even if they submit their work into a genre that they think best fits, let's say he put it into pop or he put it into alternative, the Grammy committee has the ability, the screening committee has the ability to take it out of that genre and put it in a genre they feel is best. So somebody please inform me, why is everyone so mad at Tommy Richman? I asked this question on Scru Face Jean. Everyone knows Scru Face Jean. I've been watching Scru Face Jean for a long time. I first found his channel. So I don't understand why we have to get insulting amongst each other. I just asking, just making a statement. Scru Face Jean said, oh, so you're hip hop again? This man couldn't help but to say some vulture shit, and now he put himself this song and the whole Grammys in the crazy, we about to look racist as fuck if you win position. Dude couldn't just shut up and embrace the culture that embraced him, shot his whole foot off trying to dog whistle the yeehaws, and it backfired. So this is explosive comment, right? There's a lot in there. Yeehaws, we about to look racist, shot himself in the foot, vulture shit, etc. All I said was, honestly, don't think it's this big of a deal, the Tommy Richman thing. You would think Tommy Richman called Obama the hard R with the way people are reacting. All Tommy Richman said was, he's not a hip hop artist. Then he went back and corrected to say, I grew up on hip hop, but I'm a singer. I meant to say I'm not solely a hip hop artist. We have had other artists say this. We've had Lil Uzi Vert say this. Kanye West has said this. Childish Gambino has said this. There are many rappers, hip hop artists, who have expressed that they don't want to just be considered just hip hop. Tommy Richman says it because he doesn't want to box himself into just hip hop. I mean, and then people react super visceral. Oh, he's racist. Oh my God. How dare he? I'm just like, okay. I just don't understand why we have to get insulting. You're not a top 5 rap website if you don't understand why people, mainly hip hop fans, are upset at Tommy Richman right now. I thought it was Rich Man. Yes, Rich Man. I actually do understand. It's because he's white. Black people like his music, and they want that same energy reciprocated. They felt like he was kind of trying to separate himself from the hip hop genre. I get it. I just don't understand why it's that big of a deal. We've had many other hip hop artists, actual rappers who have wanted to separate themselves from hip hop. Like, I'm not just hip hop, don't just call me a rapper. People said this. 2, you're not a top 5 rap website if you don't think it's a big deal. Okay, so I'm not allowed to have an opinion, And what does you're not a top 5 rap website mean? Like, what does that mean? I'm not of the culture? The culture! Yeah, and this culture, if you don't agree with why mainly hip hop fans are upset, if you have a different opinion, you're not from the culture.
And you ain't black.
3, you're not a top 5 rap website if you don't understand why people will be extra upset that his song was submitted as hip hop after what he said. And that Obama hard R comparison lets me know further you're not a top 5 rap website. Okay, I don't know what you're not a top 5 rap website means. I don't know what you're trying to say by that. Maybe you can clarify exactly, just say what you're trying to say. But this is what I want to focus on. You're not a top 5 rap website if you don't understand why people will be extra upset that his song was submitted as hip hop after what he said. So I just have a genuine question. Is it Tommy's fault that the song was entered in a certain genre category? I'm genuinely asking. Who decides that? Is it the artist personally? Is it the Grammy committee? Is it the label? Because if in one breath, Tommy Richman says, I'm not a hip hop artist, and then it's up to the artists themselves to go and submit their album for a Grammy, and he submits it and to pick the category, and he submits it in hip hop after saying he's not a hip hop artist, then yes, I can understand. I can understand why that's hypocritical. Racist, I don't know if that's racist that people are saying. I think that's the disconnect. I mean, I think you guys are looking at this as racist. I don't think it's racist. I have 2 main questions. Who submits albums to the Grammy committee for nomination? Is it the artists themselves? Are they going and doing this personally? Or is it their label? Or is it do the Grammys decide which albums are going to be selected? So I went searching on the internet for the answer, and it was not as straightforward. So I just asked ChatGPT, who submits albums for Grammys? For the Grammys, albums are typically submitted by the following party. And by the way, I thought we stopped caring about the Grammys like in 2015. I don't see why people still get up in arms about this shit. It's the Grammys. It's 100% politics. Who cares? Whatever. One, record labels often handle the submission for artists under their contract. Labels are responsible for ensuring their artists' work is considered across various categories. So I think that pretty much answers my question. If Tommy Richman's label is submitting his album for the Grammys, then yes, they want to make sure that his album is considered across as many categories as it can qualify for, right? So let's see Tommy Richman. What is his label? So a couple labels, but Concord and Universal. This is like one of the biggest record labels. So in some instances, independent artists or artists not attached to a major can submit their own work for consideration. We just saw on the Wikipedia page, $1 Million Baby was redistributed through Universal. So producers or managers may submit album, especially if they're closely involved in the production process. And lastly, votings of the Recording Academy can submit recordings. If Tommy Richman himself went and, as an individual, personally submitted his album for the Grammys for a hip hop award, when he said he's not solely hip hop, I can understand why some people will feel it's hypocrisy. But if the record label did it, and they're just submitting to as many various categories that it can be considered for, again, I just don't understand the uproar. Like I said, you would think someone just called Obama the N-word. He's racist. He's a vulture. Oh my God, cancel him. Cookout ticket revoked. Right. Literally, all he said is, I'm not a hip hop artist. Scratch it. I'm not solely a hip hop artist. I grew up on it, but I do more. Why are you offended? It begged the next question. The next question I had is who decides which albums that are submitted for Grammys go in which genre categories? Because there are hip hop artists whose albums were put in a hip hop category and they were pissed about that. They were like, this is not a, like, stop pigeonholing me into hip hop. Tyler, the Creator, did this with the Igor album, if you guys remember. So that tells me that the artist is not selecting the genre categories that his album is being placed in. And it also tells me that the artist is really not as involved with the submission process of albums to the Grammys as we would think we are, because Tyler, the Creator, personally had an issue and spoke up about one of his albums being nominated in the hip hop category. So my question was, who decides? The Recording Academy Genre Screening Committee decides which albums go into specific genre categories for the Grammy Awards. Here's how the process works. Initial submitted, they're entered in a genre category that the submitting party feels best. After the submissions are received, the Recording Academy experts review the entries. Their job is to ensure that the submissions meet eligibility criteria and are placed in the correct categories. If the screening committee believes an album or song has been submitted to the wrong genre, they can reassign it to the appropriate category. This is done to maintain the integrity of the categories and ensure that albums compete fairly within the right genre. So again, I don't know everything, so I go and I search for the answers. So let's just recap. I'm not a top 5 rap website. If I don't understand why people, mainly hip hop fans, are so upset at Tommy Richman right now. Well, I guess I'm not. I actually do understand, but I think it's a little outrageous. It's not a big deal because other artists have done it. Kanye West has done this. I'm not hip hop. Gambino has done this. I'm not hip hop. Number 2, but you don't think it's a big deal? Well, you're not top 5 rap website. Again, what does this mean? You're not top 5 rap website? Because I am top 5 rap website. I'm just taking this he means you're not from the culture. The culture. You're not top 5. Number 3, you're not top 5 rap website. If you don't understand why people will be extra upset that his song was submitted as hip hop after what he said. But again, we just went over here that the artist is not necessarily submitting their own work to the Grammys. And the artists are not necessarily, even if they submit their work into a genre that they think best fits, let's say he put it into pop or he put it into alternative, the Grammy committee has the ability, the screening committee has the ability to take it out of that genre and put it in a genre they feel is best. So how can you be mad at Tommy Richman if that's what happened? I don't know what happened. But if that's what happened, it's a possibility. We don't know. If that's what happened, how could you be mad at him for that? But I don't understand. So I'm not from the culture. Oh, what will I ever do? I just try to be logical, folks. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Top 5. Can I say it? Top5rapwebsite.com. I'm not top 5 rap website. Bottom 5 rap website. Peace.